These are the 1973 country songs we'll never forget. And wait till you hear what outlaw anthem took the #1 spot. It started a movement.
Hey, pass me by if you're on.
Ladies love outlaws.
What's your mama's name, child? What's your mama?
15. Johnny Rodriguez. You always come back to hurting me.
You always come back to hurting me.
At just 21 years old, Johnny Rodriguez made history. He became one of the first major Latino stars in country music, and this bittersweet hit was his breakout. You Always Come Back to Hurtin' Me was smooth, melodic, and filled with quiet heartbreak, but underneath it was a statement. Country was changing, opening its doors and expanding its voice.
Oh, really sorry when you leave.
Rodriguez's blend of Texas soul and tear-stained storytelling earned him a #1 hit and a permanent seat at the country table. And speaking of heartbreak, the next track brought Satin Sheets and shattered expectations. 14. Jan Pruitt, Satin Sheets.
Satin sheets to lie on.
With just one song, Jan Pruitt flipped the script on country women. Satin Sheets wasn't about fairy tale love. It was about emotional emptiness behind luxury and lies. Her crystal clear voice floated over steel guitar like a whisper from a broken heart. And women across the country felt it. The track shot to #1 and stayed there for weeks, proving that vulnerability wasn't weakness, it was power. And just wait, because up next is a wild, weird, wonderful hit about teddy bears and childhood dreams that never quite grew up. 13. Barbara Fairchild, Teddy Bear Song. On paper, it sounds ridiculous. A grown woman wishing she were a teddy bear to escape the pain of adult life. But in 1973, Barbara Fairchild made that bizarre concept beautifully heartbreaking. Teddy Bear Song was a soft, sad lullaby about broken innocence, and it struck a nerve with country listeners everywhere.
I wish I was a teddy bear.
It hit #1 on the charts and earned a Grammy nomination. Not bad for a song about stuffed animals. And we might send you a stuffed animal if you subscribe right now. But don't get too comfortable. The next song came from a man who made country go full confessional, and it changed everything. 12th. Tom T. Hall, Old Dogs, Children and Watermelon Wine.
On old dogs and children and watermelon.
No chorus, no big hook, just a man, a story, and a truth that hits like gospel. Tom T. Hall's Old Dogs, Children and Watermelon Wine wasn't just a song, it was a philosophy in 3 minutes. Inspired by a real conversation with the janitor in a Miami hotel bar, Hall turned everyday wisdom into a quiet masterpiece. The song climbed to #1 and reminded Nashville that real life, not glitz, was still country's beating heart.
And Miami pouring blended whiskey down.
And next up, a man who took country wisdom and wrapped it in a cloud of smoke and soul. 11. Willie Nelson, Bloody Mary Morning.
It's a Bloody Mary morning, 'cause I'm leaving, baby, somewhere in L.A.
Willie had left Nashville in the rear view, and in 1973, he returned with a vengeance. Bloody Mary Morning was a hazy, chaotic, and oddly uplifting tale of heartbreak, hangovers, and trying to outrun the pain. It wasn't polished, it wasn't perfect, but it was real. And it marked Nelson's full transformation into the king of cosmic cowboy cool. The song would later become a live staple, but the 1973 version captured something special.
Though she don't understand him, Lord, she does the best that she can.
The sound of freedom, rebellion, and Texas on vinyl. Coming up next, a ballad that took country to church, and a man who just wanted to know why. 10. Kristofferson, Why Me?
And Chris, before we do it, I'd like for you to tell the story of Why Me, Lord. I think it was inspired by Larry Gatlin, wasn't it? In a way.
I was moved by a song I heard him singing in church.
Why Me wasn't just a song, it was a confession. Written at a low point in Kristofferson's life, this gospel-tinged ballad found him on his knees, asking for mercy and meaning. And somehow, it became his biggest hit. The raw honesty of his vocals, unpolished, human, made it a #1 smash and a surprise crossover into Christian stations. It showed that country music didn't have to be perfect. It just had to be honest.
I know what I am.
And honest is exactly what the next outlaw brought. With a voice full of whiskey and thunder. 9. Whan Jennings. You Can Have Her. By 1973, Whan Jennings had had enough of Nashville's rules. You Can Have Her wasn't originally his song, but when Whan sang it, it became a declaration. His deep, gritty delivery gave this breakup anthem a mean edge, turning heartbreak into a fist on the table. The production was looser, louder, and less polished. Everything Whan wanted country music to become. This wasn't just a performance.
Up and left me, ran away.
It was a warning shot to the industry. And up next, a southern legend with a song about mama, memory, and one mysterious name. 8. Tanya Tucker. What's your mama's name?
What's your mama's name, child? What's your mama?
She was only 14 when this song hit #1, but Tanya Tucker delivered it like she'd lived every word. What's Your Mama's Name is part mystery, part tragedy, and all southern storytelling. A drifter searches for a lost love and finds heartbreak decades too late. Tucker's voice was raw but powerful, filled with soul beyond her years.
What's your mama's name, child? What's your mama's name?
The track stunned Nashville, topped charts, and made Tanya a star overnight. But now it's time for a return to Rated X territory. And one queen who never held her tongue was 7. Loretta Lynn. Rated X.
You're a has-been or a woman, you're rated X.
If country music had a conscience, Loretta Lynn was its loudest voice. In Rated X, she laid bare the double standards divorced women faced in the South. And she didn't sugarcoat a thing. Radio stations were nervous. Church folks clutched pearls. But the people, they loved it. It shot up the charts and cemented Loretta's place as country's feminist firebrand. She proved that truth-telling wasn't just brave, it was profitable. In the next voice, a velvet crooner who took us all behind closed doors. 6. Charlie Rich. Behind Closed Doors.
Goes on behind closed doors.
Sultry, subtle, sensational. Behind Closed Doors wasn't just a hit, it was a moment. Charlie Rich, the Silver Fox, delivered this smooth, piano-laced ballad with a wink and a whisper. It celebrated private love in an era when country often kept things buttoned up. The song climbed straight to #1 and won both CMA and Grammy awards. It turned Rich into a crossover superstar.
Oh, no one knows what goes on behind.
one of the few who could croon to country and lounge audiences without missing a beat. But next, a road anthem soaked in red dirt and nostalgia. 5. Roy Clark, Come Live With Me.
Come live with me.
Few entertainers were as versatile as Roy Clark, and in 1973, he proved he had heart to match his guitar chops. Come Live With Me was tender and timeless, a simple invitation to love without drama or games. Clark's voice carried warmth like a front porch sunset, and the track gave him one of his biggest solo hits. Known for hee-haw and blazing instrumentals, this song reminded everyone,
Come live with me.
Roy Clark wasn't just funny, he was feeling. And speaking of feelings, the next duet wraps love, pain, and regret into one unforgettable goodbye. 4. Conway Twitty, You've Never Been This Far Before.
I can tell you've never been this far before.
Sensual, slow-burning, and controversial, Conway Twitty pushed the boundaries of country radio with this steamy ballad, and it paid off big. You've Never Been This Far Before was seductive without being explicit, but still made plenty of stations nervous. Twitty's velvety drawl made it feel dangerous and romantic all at once. The song hit number 1 and cemented his status as country's king of slow burn seduction. But we're not done yet.
And I can feel your body tremble as you wander.
Next up, a man named Johnny who brought the wind and a whisper of rebellion. 3. Johnny Cash, Any Old Wind That Blows.
She'll go sailing off on any old wind that blows.
By 1973, Johnny Cash was already a living legend, but he wasn't done evolving. Any Old Wind That Blows was classic Cash, minimal, brooding, and full of wandering spirit. The lyrics followed a restless drifter looking for something real, a perfect metaphor for the man in black himself. It didn't top every chart, but it cut deep for longtime fans. It was proof that Cash didn't need fireworks to captivate. He just needed truth. But speaking of truth, the next song is a spiritual gut punch from a man who sang with his soul on fire. 2. Johnny Paycheck, She's All I Got.
She's all the love I know.
Desperation never sounded this smooth. Johnny Paycheck's voice cracked with pleading on She's All I Got, a song that wrapped classic country hurt in a soulful, almost Motown-influenced sound. It hit number 2 on the charts and gave Paycheck his first real taste of stardom. The song's emotional honesty and laid-back groove struck a chord with fans of both traditional country and newer, grittier sounds. It was a sign of things to come, especially for the outlaw movement that would explode in just a few years. And speaking of outlaws, the final song on this list didn't just top charts, it named a revolution. First, Whan Jennings, Ladies Love Outlaws.
'Cause ladies love outlaws.
This was it, the anthem that launched 1,000 rebel chords. Ladies Love Outlaws wasn't just a hit, it was a declaration. Whan Jennings took country's rulebook, lit it on fire, and sang through the smoke. The song blended rugged charm, defiant lyrics, and Whan's signature swagger into a statement of identity. Outlaw country wasn't just a vibe anymore, it had a soundtrack. 1973 belonged to the Rebels, and this was their theme song. Jennings didn't just close the door to Nashville's old guard, he kicked it off the hinges. 1973 wasn't a phase, it was a revolution. From Satin Sheets to outlaw anthems, This was the year country music dropped its mask and showed its wild side. These songs didn't just climb charts, they changed everything. Which one still hits you hardest? Drop a comment and let us know. And if you thought this list was wild, wait until we take you into 1991. Country songs we'll never forget, when stadiums, Garth, and global domination shook the genre. Subscribe now. The next ride's gonna be loud.